Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. And if you couldn't tell by, well, first off, let me start by saying I would have done this a lot sooner, but there was a problem with the Salvation Pros deck edit. Well, on my end, I had to delete some crap off of it because it was interfering with the search, so I couldn't edit my deck the way I wanted to. So that took a while, but the admins were pretty helpful and they told me what to do, and it's done. So here we are. So today's deck profile is the archetype known as DDs. Now don't get this don't get this messed up or mixed up with the DD archetype, which focuses on banishing and manipulating of banishment cards. Now, these are a new type introduced in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 and Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 by the character Declan or Reiji, depending on which one you go for, subs or dubs. So that's for another day. Anyway, this is his deck, the DDs. They're basically they excel at searching and they excel at searching and swarming the field. And most of their best monsters come in the form of these pendulum monsters. So now I originally was going to do this deck for a while on DevPro, but unfortunately there wasn't much in the way of proper support for it when it first came out. So I had to wait. And with the recent release of Crossover Souls and a few others, it's got a lot more support and it's become a much more stronger archetype. So I can actually go into it now. I've built this deck and I've tested it out in action. I've had something of a 75% win rate with this. Other times I just had bad draws. Other times I got OTK like nobody's business. But otherwise, let's get started with the profile. First up, we have DD Magical Astronomer Galilei. He is a 10-star pendulum monster with a scale of 1, 0 attack, 0 defense. And like all pendulum monsters, he has two effects. One for the pendulum effect, for the pendulum zone, and one for a monster effect. So, first up, his pendulum ability. You cannot pendulum summon any monsters except DD monsters. This effect cannot be negated. During each of your standby phases, increase this card's pendulum scale by 2, max 10. Then destroy all monsters you control whose levels are lower than this card's pendulum scale except DD monsters. Monster effect. During either player's turn, you can discard this card, then target one DD card or one Covenant card that you control. Return the target to the hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. Now, you probably noticed that, like it said in most of this, it says that you can't pendulum summon except DD monsters, but if you're running a pure build like I'm doing, this effect won't bother you. And same with the other one, that it will destroy all your monsters whose levels are lower than the scale of this monster, except DD monsters, so I have nothing to worry about. And for its middle effect, the increasing of its scales by 2 during your standby phases. This would be a problem, but there's another card in here that matches perfectly with this, so I'll leave that alone. Its secondary effect is good for bouncing back cards to reuse their effects. In case they're on the field, then you want to ditch this bad boy, bounce them back to your hand, and then play it again to get an appropriate effect off. So there's that. Sort that. I played 2 of these. Next up, we have DD CEO Hell Armageddon. It's a 10-star pendulum monster with a scale of 4, 3,000 attack, but only a pitiable 1,000 defense. It's a pendulum effect. Once per turn, you can target a DD monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of its turn. Monster effect. Once per turn, if you control a monster, if a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters. This card can gain attack equal to that monster's attack until the end of the turn. This card cannot be destroyed by spell or trap effects that do not target it. Now, as a pendulum effect of 4, it's pretty worthwhile having it in the pendulum zone, especially for its pendulum effect. In case you can't get over on certain monsters and you're just missing that little bit of attack, 800 is pretty good. It can allow your weaker monsters to get over on the moderate monsters your opponent summons, or make your big beefers even bigger. It's a 3000 attacker, so I keep it around as a beat stick. Its monster effect is a bit situational, being that if one or more of your DD monsters gets destroyed, it gains attack equal to that. So I've never found a use for that. But its secondary effect, the fact that it can't be destroyed by spell or trap effects that don't target it, effectively means it can plow through Mirror Force and Raigeki and Dark Hole and just keep on trucking. So I run 2 of these because it's a good beat stick and it's a scale 4. So yeah. Next up we have DDD COO Abyss Ragnarok. He is one of the newer ones to this archetype. A level 10 pendulum monster, scale of 5. 2200 attack, 3000 defense. Rather good for a defender. Let's get to his pendulum effect, shall we? If you special summon a pendulum monster, if you special summon a DD monster, except during the damage step, you can target a DD monster in your grave. Any battle damage your opponent takes is halved for the rest of the turn, and then you can special summon it, and you take 1000 points of damage. You can only use this effect once per turn. Monster effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one DDD monster in your grave. Special summon it. You can only use the effect of Ragnarok once per turn. And also, you can tribute one other DD you control, and one monster your opponent controls, banish it. So, yeah, the pendulum effect. I've found a great use for this. This is why DDs excel at swarming the field when their effects pop off when one or more of them are special or normal summoned. So if you special summon a DD monster, no matter how you do it, while he's in the pendulum zone, you can bring back another DD monster from your graveyard, and you take 1000 points of damage. Your opponent takes half damage for the rest of the turn, but that's a small price to pay for field advantage. Its secondary effect, I've found a good use for to bring back some of my beefier monsters. So I'm running one that may change in the near future with further testing. So next up, DDD Kaiser the Conqueror, the first normal effect monster. Well, effect monster that's not a pendulum monster. It's a I think it's a 7, I believe. 2800 attack, 2100 defense. When this card is pendulum summoned, negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent controls until the end turn. Once per turn, during your main phase, if this card is pendulum summoned, you can target 1 or 2 cards in your spell or trap card zone, destroy them, and if you do, this card gains an additional attack for each card destroyed by this effect during each battle phase this turn. The second effect I haven't really used. I probably want to use it in case I want to go for a quick OTK, and you'll understand why this is important when I move on to the spells and traps. But its pendulum effect, if you pendulum summon this beast, your opponent's face-up cards are just negated. That pesky field spell, gone. Any weird traps, fuck it, they're done. Your opponent has some monsters with some beefy effects. They can't do shit. I'm only keeping one because I'd rather just get him as a one-of. Next up is DDD Leonidas the Rebellious Lord. I love this guy. Pendulum monster, a level 7, 2600 attack, pitiable 1200 defense. Ouch. Pendulum scale of 3. Pendulum effect. When you take damage from a card effect, except during damage step, you can destroy this card. If you do, any effect that would inflict damage increases your life points by the same amount for the rest of the turn. Effect. Monster effect. when you take damage from a card effect, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, gain life points equal to the damage you took. Any effect damage you take becomes 0. Now, if you haven't noticed already, DDDs kind of burn themselves. You have to literally cut your life points in order to gain advantage, and that'll become important when I go on to the spells and traps. But having him in the hand, if you take if his pendulum effect, basically he destroys himself, which means he goes to your extra deck, and any effect damage you take increases your life points instead. And his monster effect is very, very useful for swarming, because when I get to the spells and traps, you'll understand what I'm saying. So it gives you an extra monster on the board. 2, 2. Next up, another pendulum monster, DDD Proud Ogre. Level 6 pendulum scale of 8, combos well with Rebellious Lords Leonidas' 3. Pendulum effect. First, his attack is 2300. Defense, still a pitiable 15. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, you can pay 500 life points. Then you can target one DDD monster you control against 500 attack. Unless you have a DDD card in your other pendulum zone, his pendulum scale becomes 5. Okay, go back, you bastard. Monster effect. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one face-up DDD pendulum monster from your extra deck. Its effects are negated. If you activate this effect, you cannot special summon the rest of the turn except DDD monsters. Hit this. I keep him as a nice little beat stick, and his additional attack points are pretty well in hand. You could possibly normal summon him. I've never had to found the need to. I only run one of him. That may change, or if someone's running a different variant of him, let me know. Next up, DDD Proud Chevalier. Pendulum monster, level 5. Pendulum scale of 6. 2000 attack. Shitty 700 defense. Ugh. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, you pay 500 life points. Then you target one face-up monster your opponent controls. That monster loses 500 attack. Unless you have a DDD card in your other pendulum zone, this card's pendulum scale becomes 5. Monster effect. When this card is normal summoned, you can add one face-up dark pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. I keep him around for the pendulum effect, which is pretty useful for knocking down your opponent's attack. Of course, you're gonna be using another DDD as a pendulum for the other side of the pendulum scale, so the downside doesn't really hurt you. Once again, like Ogre, I haven't found an opportunity to normal summon him, since I'm pretty much going to be pendulum summoning a lot in this deck, so I just run one. That may change as I change the deck up. Alright, now DDD Cerberus. Level 4 Pendulum Monster. Pendulum scale of 6. 1800 attack, 600 defense. Ugh. Pendulum effect. Once per turn, you can target a DDD monster you control. Its level becomes 4, and if it does, it gains 400 attack. Monster effect. This card is pendulum summoned from your hand while you control a DD monster. Except Cerberus, you can target a continuous spell card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Now, as far as its pendulum effect goes, Armageddon does a better job at boosting. 800, it does double with 800 and opposed to its 400. But it's that secondary effect. The monster becomes a level 4, which I like, which goes into the exceed summons when I get to them. I'm running 2. I tried running 3, but it was just too much. So I shortened it down to 2. So let's go to another effect monster. DD Lilith, level 4. 100 attack, 2100 defense. Pretty good defender. If this card is normal or special summon, you can activate one of these effects. You can only use this effect of DD Lilith once per turn. First effect, target a DD monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Effect 2, add one face-up DD pendulum monster from your extra deck to your hand. Now, it makes a pretty good defender, and the fact that you can use its effect whenever you normal or special summon it is a plus. The two effects give you a lot of versatility. Like say if you have a few DD monsters in your graveyard and you kind of want them back, get Lilith. Or if you want some of those pendulum monsters from your extra deck back into your hand for whatever reason, you can get them back. So I run 3. It's a pretty great card. Next up we have DD Night Howling. Level 3 effect tuner, the only tuner in this deck. Pitiable 300 attack and 600 defense. You will not be attacking with this. You want its effect though. When this card is normal summoned, target one DD monster in your graveyard, special summon that target, but its attack and defense becomes 0. If that monster is destroyed, you take 1,000 points of damage. If you activate this effect, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fiend type monsters. Now, the restriction at the bottom doesn't really hurt you at all because all of your monsters are effectively fiends, so it doesn't really matter. Destroying the secondary effect is that if that monster that you bring back is destroyed, then you take 1,000 points of damage. But if you're bringing it back, you will be doing something with it, either seed summoning with it or synchro summoning with it, since this Night Howling combos perfectly with DD Lilith. So summon him, bring her back, then bring something back from your graveyard, then synchro summon into something. Whatever, I'll get to it later. And finally, for the main deck, we got DD Magical Astronomer Kepler. 1-star pendulum monster. Pendulum scale of 10, the highest in the entire deck out of all the pendulum monsters for this archetype. Pendulum effect, same as Galilei. You cannot pendulum summon except DD monsters, can't be negated. But the opposite is true. During each of your standby phases, reduce this card's pendulum scale by 2. Monster effect. Let me get over to it. If this card was normal or special summoned, you can activate one of these effects. You can only activate the effect of Kepler once per turn. 1. Target another DD card that you control. Return it to the hand. 2. Add a Covenant card from your deck to your hand. Notice how this one has a high-ass pendulum scale, this one has a low one. During either your turns, this one goes down by 2, this one goes up by 2. So eventually, if you have these on the field long enough, the pendulum scales will kind of balance each other out. It will be a small window where you can't pendulum summon anything, but their scales will balance each other out. Its monster effect is a good enough reason to run it because you can search for any of the Covenant cards. I'll get to those after I'm done with this because I run 2. Sure, summoning a 0 attack monster on the field, but hey, you get to search, so it's worth the risk. So anyway, so what are these Covenant cards that I keep talking about? These are the Covenant cards. Well, there are 3 of them in total. 2 permanent continuous spells, 1 continuous trap. So, Covenant with the Infernal Gate. During your main phase, you can add 1 DD monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. During each of your standby phases, you take 1,000 points of damage. This is the main searcher you want, and you can do this once per turn. You can adapt your strategy and just keep adding DD monsters from your hand from your deck to your hand. And this is why you'll be taking a lot of damage from these cards because they all have the same effect. During your standby phase, you take a grand of damage. But with cards like Leonidas, you can kind of mitigate that damage. Now, this is a great searcher. You can run 3 if you want. I'm just running 2 because of this build. Next, we have Covenant with the Swamp King. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 Fiend-type fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters in your hand or on your side of the field as fusion. If you would fusion summon a DD fusion monster, you can also banish monsters from your grave as fusion material. You can only use this effect once per turn. Like before, you take a grand of damage each standby phase. This is the easiest way to fusion summon your DDD fusion monsters. You can use them for the hand or the field, and if your opponent gets rid of it, then you can just, at your next turn, just banish the cards you have in your graveyard and fusion summon again. This makes the fusion summon so much easier. So instead of running polymer, this is like a permanent polymerization on the field. Before, you'd be taking a lot of damage, but that's okay. As for other spells, we have Pot of Riches. Yes, there's this. If you're running a pendulum-heavy deck, you need these. Choose 3 pendulum monsters in your graveyard and/or that are face-up in your extra deck. Shuffle them into your deck, and then draw 2 cards. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this card, except by pendulum summons. You can only activate 1 Pot of Riches once per turn. So essentially, if you have pendulum monsters in your grave or face up in on your deck, and you're not going to be pendulum summoning much in that turn, activate Pot of Riches. This is cheesy good, and I expect this to be limited or outright banned because of how good it is. I'm running 2. Dark Hole, just running 1. Destroy all monsters on the field. This is just something to clear the decks if you want. It's self-explanatory. Blows up everything. Next, I'm running something that just came out in the newest set, Galaxy Cyclone. It is a spell card. Target 1 spell, set spell, and trap card on the field. Destroy it. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your grave. Then target 1 face-up spell trap on the field. Destroy it. You can only use this effect of Galaxy Cyclone once per turn. This is a card I'm considering throwing into my Super Heavy Samurai deck because it's like Mystical Space Typhoon, but better. So you can just play this on your first turn and pop whatever set cards your opponent has. Then on your next turn, if they have anything face up in their pendulum zone or any face up traps that are giving you problems, just banish this sucker and blow it right up. So it does double the work of Mystical Space Typhoon. It's not as fast as Mystical Space Typhoon. It's just a regular spell card, and MST is a quick play, so it's slower, but it outweighs it with the benefits of being able to destroy something twice over. So yeah. And since it banishes itself, this will be a perfect card to use in your Super Heavy Samurai deck. Since Super Heavy Samurais excel with having no cards in your no spell or traps in your graveyard, and this just removes itself when you need it. So yeah, I'm running 3 of these because why not? On the traps, Covenant with the Dark Witch. Permanent spell. Send a DD or Covenant card from your hand to the graveyard. Then target 1 card in the field. Destroy it. You can only use it once per turn. All Fiend monsters you control gain 1,000 attack during your opponent's turn. During each of your standby phases, you take 1,000 points. Now, this lets you search. This lets you fuse. This lets you pop. So you can ditch any of these guys in the graveyard and pop a card. I've used this against a guy who was against a Rome Mage player who was using Vanity's Emptiness in conjunction with Lose a Turn, and I just kept blowing up his shit. So I just kept coming at him, and he couldn't do much about it. The increase of the attack points during your opponent's turn gives your DD monsters a bit of more survivability because these guys, the bigger boss monsters, are already pretty beefy. Having this makes Armageddon a 4,000 point beater, so only during their turn. So again, you take damage, take a grand, which is okay. Next we have DD Recruit, trap card. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, target any number of DD monsters and or Covenant cards in your grave. Up to the difference of the monsters, add them to your hand. You can only activate 1 DD Recruit per turn. This effectively lets you recycle cards, and you will be able to get back, at the bare minimum, 1 DDD or a Covenant card back to your hand, at the bare most 5. So play this at the right time. If your opponent blows up some of your DD Covenant cards, or you have some cards in that and most of your cards in your graveyard are done, use this to get them back, but only if they have more monsters than you do. It's risky, but the reward is worth it. Next, we have lease laundering. Destroy as many Covenant cards in your spell or trap zone as possible. If you do, draw one card for each card destroyed and gain 1,000 life points for each card drawn. This is another way to mitigate the life point loss that you will be suffering at the hands of these Covenant cards. What I'd like to do is once I use their effect, I play lease laundering, pop them, and at the very most I can draw at least 3 cards. At the very least, 1 to 3 cards, and I get 3,000 life points. So I gain some of my life points back. Run 2. Next we have DDD Resource Management. Shuffle 3 DD monsters from your hand, field, or graveyard, and/or DD cards from your Pendulum Zone into your deck. Then add 2 DD monsters from your deck to your hand. This effectively is also a mixture of Pot and Covenant with the Infernal Gate. It lets you recycle your DD monsters from your hand, field, graveyard, or your pendulum zone back into your deck. If you didn't like your hand, just shuffle the ones you don't want back into your deck and just pick the 2 cards that you want. So this gives you a good sense of variety and tactical planning. So run 2. Now we have Oasis of Dragon Souls. Continuous trap. Activate by targeting 1 monster in your grave. Special summon it in defense mode. If that card becomes a worm type. When this card leaves the field, destroy that target. When that target leaves the field, destroy this card. A lot of people, including myself, run this as a substitute for Call of the Haunted. Because Call brings your monster back in attack mode when you want it to be defending. So this is a perfect example of it defending. Not to mention, when the monster leaves the field, this dies. Or when this card dies, the monster leaves the field. And with Call the Haunted, when your monster leaves the field, by whatever means, Call the Haunted stays there, and unless you're playing Magical Planner, Call the Haunted can just clog up your back row for no reason. So I'm running one of these. And finally, we have Powerful Rebirth. Finally, this powerful anime card gets made and printed in Crossover Souls. Continuous Trap. Activate this card by targeting a level 1 or a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. Special summon that target. Its level is increased by 1. It also gains 100 attack and defense. When that target is destroyed, destroy this card. This is good. This is what Call the Haunted wishes it could be. Not only can you bring back your lower level monsters in whatever mode that you want, but it gives it 100 extra attack and defense, which can matter. As a friend of mine on YouTube says, if you're running arrow mages or anything that has level 4s in it that you want to use this card. Fuck Call of the Haunted, play this card. I'm only playing 1 because I only got that much room. And now we go to the bigger boss monsters. Start with the Exceeds. DDD Caesar, the Wave Overlord. 2400, rank 4, 2400 attack, 1200 defense, needs 2 level 4 Fiend monsters. You can only use the effect of Caesar once per turn. During either player's turn, you can detach 1 Exceeds material from this card. At the end of this turn's battle, special summon as many monsters from your graveyard as possible that will destroy this turn, and if you do, you take 100 points of damage for each monster special summoned this way. During your next standby phase, if this card was sent to the field from the graveyard, you can add a Covenant card from your deck to your hand. This, if your opponent runs into you, wipes out your field, just ditch an Exceed material from this card, bring them all back. So if you hit it with a Dark Roll, bring them all back. Right, Geki, bring them all back. Mirror Force, bring them all back. They get run over by monsters, bring them all back. You'll take a lot of damage, but you can mitigate it, and I'll show you why. Run 3. Next we have DDD, Tell the Sniper Overlord. 2 level 5 monsters. 2300 attack, 2000 defense, rank 5. You can also exceed summon this card by using a rank 4 DDD Exceeds you control as Exceeds material. So you really don't need 2 level 5s. Just, if you don't have any material for Caesar, slap him over him. Once per turn during your either player's turn, if you took effect damage this turn, you can detach 1 Exceed material from this card and target 1 face-up monster on the field. It loses 1000 attack and defense, and if it does, inflict 1000 attack damage to your opponent. If this card was sent from the field to the graveyard, you can send a DD or Covenant card from your deck to your graveyard. Now, like this one before, this one lets you search out a Covenant card. This one, for some reason, lets you ditch something to the graveyard. It'll do some you can do some really weird tactics with this, but I haven't found them yet. Still experimenting. I'm running 2. Next we have DDD Alexander, Synchro Monster, level 7. Hey, these two play well together to summon him. Let's see. Level 7 Synchro, 2500 attack, 2000 defense. The DD monster is normal special summon, except by this card, you can target a level 4 or lower DD monster in your grave, special summon that target. You can only use this effect once per turn. Notice how these guys like to special summon each other? Alexander is a pretty good one. You exceed summon with him, and you pendulum summon on your next turn, and you can just summon whatever whatever level 4 that you want. Either Kepler, Howling, Lilith is a good target, or Cerberus. Any one of these. So run 3. Next we have one of the 2 fusions. DDD Temujin, the Raging Night Inferno Knight. Caesar, Alexander, Temujin. Anyway, you only need 2 DD monsters. If a DD monster is summoned, special summoned to your side of the field, except this card, except during damage step, you can target a DD monster in your graveyard. Special summon that target. You can only activate the effect of Temujin once per turn. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by a card effect, you can target 1 Covenant card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. This is pretty good for recycling your Covenant cards that get sent to the graveyard either by your opponent or by you using least laundering, or using Kaiser's effect to do an OTK or an attempted OTK or whatever. Just like Caesar, except just like Alexander, but except Temujin can bring back any DD monster. Doesn't matter what it is, he can bring it back. Run 3. And finally, the card that makes this deck so much better. So much better. DDD, the Arc, the Oracle Overlord. Fusion Monster. 2800 attack, 2000 defense. Any 2 DD monsters. Any effect, and let me read this slowly for you. Any effect that would inflict damage to you increases your life points by the same amount instead. Let me read that again. Any effect that would inflict damage to your life points increases your life points instead. This card right here makes this deck playable or competitive. This card turns your detriments of the Covenant cards into your advantage. Many a times I have played Covenant with the Swamp King in conjunction with Covenant of the Infernal Gate. I brought anything to my hand, fused them, summoned the Arc. They're not getting over. Very few people have ever gotten over on her their first turn. So your standby comes around. You don't take damage, but instead your life points go up. She is like Leonidas on crack. She makes this deck all the better. All that you worried about losing life points per turn, That doesn't matter with D'Arc. As long as she's on the field, you're still going to gain life points. In fact, remember Caesar? How you summon all those monsters that you can bring them all back, but you'll take 1,000 points for each. If you have a full field, you probably take 1,000 points of damage, unless you have D'Arc. That means you'll be gaining 1,000 points of life points. Run 3. If you're not running 3, if you're not playing a DDD deck, if you're playing a DDD deck and you're not playing this bitch, then you need to just get rid of that deck altogether. She is what you want. She makes your deck survivable, and it makes it thrive. I would not be playing this deck on Salvation Pro if it not for this card. D'Arc makes this deck. Play her. If you're not summoning her first turn, if you're able to, you're not playing the game right. So yeah, this is my DDD deck, and hopefully in the next coming videos I'll be able to showcase it off and show you what it can do. But my voice is getting very hoarse. It is a little past 6 a.m. because I couldn't sleep because I kept thinking about this deck so much. But yeah, I'll provide you with some play testing of this like with my other videos. So that's my DD deck. If you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. If you got any questions, comments, or tips on how I can make this deck a little better, they're welcome. Just leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. You want to support the channel? Click an advertisement or two. They take literally a second out of your day. It helps very much. Or if you want to do it directly, tip jar is up there. Drop $1 in the bucket. I could use a taco. Any new subscribers, you get a cookie. So yeah, until next time, shintigercurl. That dude in the straw hat saying good morning, and I think I'm in love.